But what I did see, the people that stayed, that decided to stay, really grew, no? People had very profound realizations, life-transforming realizations, and it just goes to prove that peace, love, and freedom is an internal experience. You know, we keep saying that, and it's like a cliche, like yeah. But when you actually experience it, you can see that it's a reality. Because that which is real and permanent is inside of us. And it's eternal. And when we start to touch on that space, we start to realize how futile, how ridiculous are all the little dramas in our lives when we're confronted by bigger issues or locked up with ourselves. And how much time we spend entertaining dramas and complaining. So when you go home and you're faceteando, really take the time to look at your thoughts, look at your body, and really start to appreciate and start to watch and think, you know, is that worth a reaction or not? Because really what you're giving to your body in terms of peace and love is so important. It's so important. It's all part of self-sanation, no? We think it's about food. But the majority of stress and angst come from the head. That tense stress, thoughts, obsessions, all come from the head. And we need the head to be calm. And from that place we can function at an optimum level. So start to look, how can I be more loving with myself? How I can pick my fights without just everything being a fight. How I can say yes. Look for the yes. Look for the letting go of the idea. Look for everything that gives you responsibility of being anchored in that love. Because that's what you deserve, you know. And that's why you're here. To have fun. To enjoy your lives. Yeah, like Mark Anthony says, you know. Vivir para la, vivir mi vida, la 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 la.
I arrived here running away from a reality. I thought that at 3 days I was going to run away from here because no therapy worked for me. And I'm fascinated how all your team with love goes on getting you to the system. And today I'm living with a bag full of tools to reinvent myself, to let go of patterns, and to get back to build myself. Yesterday you told me to let go to the fear of ridiculous, to be ridiculous. I still didn't let go completely, but slowly. And there is a question that yesterday you were talking about union, and that I didn't understand. Unity that goes on uniting all the chakras. And that energy, when you explained it yesterday, I started practicing more and I felt an energy, a different energy. And the question that I want to do is, do you believe that in a relationship, partner relationship, is so necessary the sexual part, or we can erase it? You can live in a relationship without sex.
Well, I think you'd have to ask your partner that. You know, I wouldn't put any conditions anywhere. You know, if you can be profoundly intimate with someone, that connects you with your divinity. Whether you can sustain that is another question. Because as we spend more time with each other, if we're not growing together, the mirror starts to reflect all the rubbish. And that intimacy, that pureness, that energy, it starts to disappear. But to know that is a great inspiration for finding it within yourself. You know, I think people that can love intensely have a huge capacity to find consciousness, because they have this capacity to surrender. And that's what's important. Because really consciousness is a connection. It's a connection between the masculine and the feminine within you. It's an internal connection. Apart from what you're doing externally or how you're represented externally. All humans have the two energies. And in enlightenment, there's a perfect marriage. The masculine and the feminine unite. An enlightened person is not masculine or feminine. It's a very central energy, a very neutral energy. It's a very impacting energy, but it has both energies united. So ultimately we're looking for that, no? We're looking to be at one with ourselves. But you know, if you're starting a relationship, it's a big aspect of a relationship, no? You don't meet someone in a bar and say, let's be celibate together. Would you like to be celibate with me? I don't think he'll come home with you. But sometimes you go past that point. And you know, people that are really focused on consciousness, that attraction starts to dissolve because the consciousness is much more impacting as you get into higher levels of consciousness. You know, sex is just another thing. Whereas when you're in low levels of consciousness, sex is everything. It's all you think about. So you change. Everyone changes and evolves. The important thing is never to suppress anything. Don't suppress things because of ideas. Oh, sex is bad for consciousness. That's not true. Everything that happens naturally is perfect. And this is Tantra. Tantra is embracing everything. Tantra is the awakening of everything. But it's a complete surrender to what is. It's not a path of negation. Lots of paths are of negation. I negate that. I focus on silence. I don't look at that. 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 Tantra allows everything to move through, and you get to a point where you have such a clarity, you know what has value. And that which does not have value just starts to fall away by itself. So there's no rule. And this is the fastest path. It's the hardest path. Why? Because there's no rules. So you really have to be true to yourself. If you're given a rigid path with rules, it's easier because the intellect can accommodate. So you just allow, and you know. You know in the moment. You know when you start to suffer. You know what serves and what doesn't serve. It's all very clear. And then what you choose, it depends on you. Now you're completely confused? No? Good.
I want to give thanks also. I feel I have like a dish here. I'm living very, very happy, very grateful, and different, with something new in me that it was a discovering here. And thank you for that. And yes, I have a question. Yesterday that you were talking about judgments. I thought, which one will be the most difficult for me? What makes me angry, hurts, the most horrible things, torture, the rapes of children, and those things I don't see myself accepting or seeing the love there. And I understand that for us, the way is to move the church till we can accept. But from enlightenment, how do you see that? How do you perceive the love in an act like that, of that kind?
You know, and this is the point. From enlightenment, I tell you, everything is love. Because everything's a dream. It's not real. It's created by the energy of love. Everything, violence, divinity, all the atrocities, they all come from the human experience. We are not the human experience. It's like we're in this dramatic play, like the most dramatic play. And there's so many extremes. From a point of enlightenment, I know that is the truth. Do I condone human suffering? No, obviously not. You know, my job, if I had a job, is to help people liberate suffering. Because that's the gift I have. Because I liberated my suffering. So do I think it's a good thing? No. But I also know it's not real. But that doesn't mean I would allow it. If I see these things and I can do something, I'm not going to say, oh, it's just an illusion, get over it. Obvious. Because for humans it's not an illusion. It's an atrocity. It's an atrocity what humans do. We do horrible things. And it all comes from here. Because we believe all the lies. You know, Hitler's the greatest example. He created a lie because he had a problem. And because the country is in such disarray, they grabbed the problem. The problem is the Jews. And before that, the problem was the infidels. And before that, the problem was something else. Because the humans can't cope with their fear. Because they don't know who they are. So they project everything on anything that's different. And we come up with all these solutions. The problem is the rich. We'll eradicate them. We will become communists. We will all work together. We will forget about God. God is dead. So off we go to the factories and we work for the state and da 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 da. Did it work? No. Well, China's very organised, I'll give them that. But you know, it worked for capitalism now. But the thing is this, they're all ideologies because we're trying to cure the human condition. And we can't. Because it's no one's fault. It's an illusion. There's no porqué. So, when we stop being collective victims and we all start to take responsibility for who we're going to be and stop blaming other people and find our true essence and ask the important questions like, who am I? Really? Everything will change. And we are changing. I know it looks like we're not. But if you think, I'd be burnt on a stake. Sin duda. I'm with my friend Joan of Arc. You know, we'd both take our horses. And we'd get burnt in the stake. And then 100 years later we'd be Santas. And they'd put a gold statue of me in France. No? But you understand what I'm saying? We're all fucking crazy. We're all crazy. We all live in the illusion of fear. And we always have someone to blame. You know, I remember I was in Uruguay once. And I was on the beach. And this is how crazy humans are, no? And the beach was completely empty. Completely empty. And there was one pescador, no? One fisherman. And he's there with his rod. And he was the only one. It was very calm. Nothing happening. I said, how are you going? You know, hola, ¿cómo están? Oh, it's terrible. I said, what? He said, you can't believe it. He said, those sea lions, they're stealing all my fish. And I was like, he could make a drama anywhere. You know, this is a 30-kilometre beach. And there's 2 sea lions that have already eaten too much, so they're like, they're stealing his fish. The L. His fish. And he was there suffering. I thought you people go fishing to relax. But you can still be a victim of the sea lions. It's unbelievable, no? But isn't that a classic example of how crazy we are? That we project our stress on anything. And you know, we're very clever because we get a good cause and then we suffer. But because it's noble, it's justified. Look at the plastic. And we suffer. No, it's true. We can suffer about anything. We can suffer about people starving in Africa. And we don't even know if they are. But we can suffer. We were taught that. You know, eat all your food. There's children in Africa that don't have food. Like we've been taught from this age all these things. And they're all to do with people's dramas. You know, my grandmother was so racist. Hated Germans, hated Japanese. And it was because of the war. My mother was the opposite. Absolutely. She was like the liberator of all judgments, racial judgments. And she'd bring everyone home to learn English. And they live together. And they fight over their ideas. And yet my Nana's best friend was German. She just didn't notice. You know, the woman lived next door. German accent. Gadeski. More German impossible. Her best friend. I hate Germans. Hate the Germans. I'm sure she told her too. But they're just ideas, you understand? But we think our ideas are the truth. And they're lies. Look at all the rednecks. Or faggots, homosexuals. You know, it's all just ideas. They're ideas. Most of these people don't even know anyone. And you have to catch your own ideas. And really see if they're just prejudices or ideas or pomposities or whatever. And to catch them's good. And let them go. But not from a place of politically correct. Really see what you believe, if it's based in love or fear. And it's so easy to know because you expand. Fear, love, just keeps putting everything into the ocean. I can love that, I can love that, I am that, I'm responsibility, I am that, I am that. I can let go of my idea. I can let it go. I don't need to hold it because it's just an illusion. This is the truth. And then creation. So keep going until you can expand, no? And you start having these realizations. Because you will. It's natural. It's who you are. As your energy starts vibrating more, more is revealed, more is revealed, more is revealed. It's very easy. Okay, I'm not talking anymore. I talk too much, you know. I like to talk. My mother always said, you love the sound of your own voice. I love. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you for coming.
Gracias por haber venido a todos.
Come visit our webpage for books, movies, and our wonderful retreat centers. Isha's simple yet powerful system is transforming lives around the world.